This match on FS1 is sponsored by Volkswagen, the presenting partner of U.S. Soccer.
A match between teams from the Western Hemisphere being played in a small town in Central Europe. This is international soccer in 2020. This is the United States taking on Panama in Wiener Neustadt, Austria. Hello, everyone, and welcome. Alongside Stu Holden, I'm John Strong. Straight to the feed from Austria we go. Time for the national anthems of Panama and the United States.
And now, the national anthem of the United States of America. Thank you very much.
You see once again the U.S. players wearing their jackets with the collective message of "Be the Change" on the front and the individual messages on the back of each jacket. Part of that initiative led by the players, supported by the Federation, ahead of just this second match in a FIFA window in 2020. 4 changes for Greg Berhalter, Stu, for the lineup that played Wales to the scoreless draw Thursday, and they make up the second youngest lineup we've ever seen from the United States.
Yeah, a couple big ones. You're going to see Serginho Dest in that left-back position. He started on the right for the first time for the men's national team against Wales. That means Reggie Cannon gets the opportunity on that right-hand side. Having made the move to Portugal, he's in good form. The midfield three, the same once again. Can they continue to be the heartbeat of this team? A notable one up front. No false nine this game. Sebastian Lletget is on the bench. That means Joaquini, Nicolas Joaquini, 20 years old, has 3 goals in the French second division. He gets the start at the 9 position with Ulian is on that left-hand side.
Meanwhile, for Panama, they played a game about 90 minutes up the road in Graz, Austria on Friday. They change out pretty much the entire lineup for this one, including 3 former MLS players in the field: Fidel Escobar, Michael Murillo, and Armando Cooper.
And Murillo, of course, the New York Red Bull man, now playing over in Belgium with Anderlecht. Escobar's one of those center backs. Carrasquilla, you're going to see him playing further forward. This is going to look more like a 4-2-3-1 for Panama. Fajardo gets the start up front. Aguilar on that left-hand side, and Eduardo Guerrera on that right. The number 7, the winger for Panama.
And it is Cooper captaining Panama. It's Tim Ream, 33 years old from St. Louis, who for a 7th time is captain of the U.S. And it's Harold Lechner, 38-year-old Austrian. He lives in Wiener Neustadt. And just a couple days ago, this same stadium hosted a match between Mexico and South Korea. Guess who was also the referee for that one. But he's a very experienced international referee, as well as in the UEFA Europa League. So here we go. It's another opportunity for these U.S. men to be on the field to continue the build-up against now a familiar opponent. 23rd all-time meeting between the U.S. and Panama, including in each of the last 8 Gold Cups. They last faced off in Kansas City in the group stage in 2019, a 1-0 win for the U.S. on that night. Also, Greg Berhalter's first game in January of last year was against Panama. As we mentioned, we've got a couple of former MLS players on the field for Panama. It is the first time a U.S. lineup has featured players exclusively from European clubs since a Gold Cup quarterfinal back in 2011. Another opportunity to see this young core starting to be built up ahead of a World Cup in Qatar that begins 2 years from Saturday, the qualifying matches for which will begin next year. And you get a sense of another windy, chilly evening the U.S. are playing in, this one in the town of Wiener Neustadt, Austria, which is about 30 miles south of Vienna. This is a small stadium built for a small club in a small town in Central Europe, which is for a second time in the last couple days hosting a big-time international match. Of the role these young Americans are trying to play in the collective quest for social justice and equality. And now underway, it is the United States wearing the new blue shirts. It is Panama in white. It's a U.S. team that had a lot of hope, promise, excitement, and fun on Thursday night. Just no goals in the scoreless draw against Wales. Greg Berhalter talking to us yesterday about continuing to build continuity for players that some of whom were just meeting each other for the first time last week. A lot of the same players on the field together, particularly the midfield trio. Are we talking about a group we're going to be seeing together for many years to come? And is there some better end product at the end of it? As the last time we'll get to see this particular group of U.S. players together until the next FIFA window in March of next year against a team in Panama that they will be competing against in World Cup qualifying. Remember, it was Panama who was in the last World Cup in Russia and not the U.S. And an early foul for one of those changes in the lineup. Nicholas Joachini going down. Stu, what are you excited about tonight?
Well, I want to see that midfield trio again, like you talked about, John. And actually, we're seeing Musa starting on that right of the 3 with McKennie on the left. It was flip-flopped against Wales, so interested on that. And then Serginho Dest, a lovely little sequence there on the left. Good combination play with Gioacchini. What does it look like with Dest on the left and Reggie Cannon on the right? And then ultimately, can the United States get a win? Can they put the ball in the back of the net? And can they dominate with and without the ball in this match?
And it's Gio Reyna, other side of his 18th birthday now, who will lift this free kick across and behind all the targets, although a sideways header there before it's finally cleared. Tim Ream given the opportunity tonight. Once again wearing the armband. He has been a regular under Greg Berhalter last couple of years. Serginho Dest now on the left side tonight knocks that one out. Dest we saw on the right against Wales. We see him on the left tonight as you take a look at Thomas Christiansen, the Danish coach who is actually a Spanish international and a former top scorer in the German Bundesliga, who took over as Panama coach in July. This is just his 4th game in charge. Dest missing that ball out of the air. Good tackle by Adams, though, on Guerrero. What kind of difference does that make to have Dest now on the left and Reggie Cannon come in on the right?
Well, the way that Serginho Dest was getting down that right side, Greg Berhalter talking to us about can he arrive? The timing of his fullbacks getting into the attack and then being able to deliver across. Serginho Dest is right foot. He's playing on the left. So what is his service like? He's going to naturally want to come inside more, look to combine. That means that Ulianes really has to keep his width as a winger when Dest does come inside. And then Reggie Cannon, he's going to get up and down the right flank. You see both U.S. fullbacks right now high and into the attack. So what is the cover like defensively as well?
Here's Dest on the ball. Ream playing alongside Matt Miazga, who keeps his spot tonight, trying to clip that into the space. Long run for Reggie Cannon, who's going to get there, knocks it down for Weston McKennie. McKennie being harassed the whole way. Oscar Linton quickly thrown in for Joe Aquini. Linton on his back. And it's going to be out for a Panama throw. Miazga coming forward there to challenge in the air. McKennie brings it down. And Tim Ream, Berhalter said John Brooks played well, but Ream deserves an opportunity to get in there tonight. He's trained at a really high level, has been playing week in, week out in the Premier League for Fulham. Ulianes there. He's going to go down behind the play. Ulianes in pain after releasing that pass. And referee Harold Lecker is going to stop the play.
He's holding that right knee. You can see clearly right there. I mean, great little piece of skill from Ulianes in tight quarters. Skips past a couple Panamanian defenders, released the ball to Musa. Looks like they just bang knees there.
Ulianes getting his third game for the U.S., his second start. He also started the game in February against Costa Rica, scored a penalty in a 1-0 win for Greg Berhalter's team. That was coming out of the January camp. 19-year-old from Los Angeles who plays at Heerenveen in the Netherlands on loan from Wolfsburg in Germany. And told us yesterday it was difficult getting used to things at Heerenveen at first, but he said, I'm getting more used to it now. I'm getting back to my old self. I was excited to be getting his opportunity again to go from the start, and so certainly very concerning to see him down, getting looked at right now just a few minutes in.
Yeah, you can see clearly that it just bangs legs with Armando Cooper right in the middle of the field.
Look at Joe Aquini there as the captain Ream comes over to have a look as well.
It was fun talking to him yesterday, John Ulianes, and I asked him, I said, well, you came straight on the game the other day against Wales. You had the shot, you were buzzing around the field, and he said, I just couldn't wait to get back on the field for the men's national team. He made his first cap back in January, or February rather, against Costa Rica, getting another opportunity. It looks like he's up and moving on the sideline, and he was really excited to get the start tonight and show what he could do.
Ream's ball forward for Joe Aquini was knocked down. Kia there. That big bushel of hair. Playing it forward, knocked away by Miazga. We saw a lot of this the other night against Wales. The U.S. really just winning the ball back, keeping so much of the game in the Welsh half. So it looked like Yanez was being singled back out by the referee. McKennie on the turn, Cannon on the run. Joe Aquini in the middle. Cannon got slowed up on the first touch. Now the cross. Yanez back on the field, put it just wide. Well, that would have been a dream return to play.
Well, this is almost the ideal build-up that Greg Berhalter wants to see. You're going to see Weston McKennie take the ball in the half turn. He plays it wide to a Cannon. Can he arrive at the right time? He does there. And then the pick out and the awareness to find the run from the far side from Ulianes, who was straight back onto the field after taking that knock, and nearly with his first touch puts it in the back of the net. Great look there for the U.S.
Right ahead here for Juan David Tejada of the Tampa Bay Rowdies, who takes the tackle. He's Juan Tejada for Tampa Bay and a center forward. He's Juan David Tejada and a center midfielder for Panama, and he's on the ground courtesy of Tyler Adams.
Tyler Adams, John, in the first half of the United States' last match, led the team in touches with 54, the most passes and most tackles.
Yearwood's cross, free header, Panama goal. Jose Fajardo, his first career goal for Panama in his 13th appearance. And a bright start for the U.S. undone at the 8-minute mark, and they trail Panama.
Well, Panama quickly switched the field. You're going to see the runner inside. Reggie Cannon backs off instead of closing down the cross there. No pressure on the ball. And it's a great ball in from Yearwood, and Fajardo finds a little gap there between the two center backs, between Ream and Miazga. The pace of the ball, and just a glancing header. Nothing Zach Steffen can do there to come out and get it. Just rooted on his line after that ball in from Yearwood, and Fajardo makes the most of it there. Great header, 1-0 Panama.
He's a 27-year-old making this his 13th international appearance. 2 years ago, he was top scorer in the Panama League. Ended up spending a year on loan in the second division of Saudi Arabia. He played against the U.S. at the Gold Cup. That was when both the U.S. and Panama were basically playing a lot of their backups. It was the last game of the group stage. Both teams knew they were going through. So it's a rare opportunity for Fajardo. It's his first international goal. And how does the U.S. react to going down?
Far too easy there for Panama. One quick ball through the middle of the field. They got it wide. No pressure from the fullbacks, and then both of the center backs, Miazga and Ream, lose the run of Fajardo, just drifts between them. One striker to deal with for both of them today, and he finds a way to put Panama ahead. Here they come again.
Fajardo took it away from Miazga. Here's Tejada now. He draws the contact from Adams. Second foul that Tejada has taken from Tyler Adams, and a free kick and a good shooting position here for Panama.
Well, Panama really transitioning from defense to attack so quickly, and Tejada had taken a heavy touch and was clever. He waits for Tyler Adams to bite, pushed it to the side of him, draws the free kick from a dangerous spot now.
And you see the wind whip it around the players' shirts. 3 Panama players are standing over this free kick. Armando Cooper, former Toronto FC player, is one of them. Michael Murillo, the former New York Red Bull. Fidel Escobar, another former Red Bull. That's going to be well over from Murillo.
Well, John, let's see how this young U.S. team responds here now. Do they raise the level? Do they stand up? Because Panama, you can see how it's energized them with that goal. They're stepping up high. They're trying to press the U.S., trying to win it back.
Rolled down for Yanez now. Joaquini inside of him. Yanez on the right, Reyna on the left. And it's knocked away. Good defending there. Picked up by Carrasquilla. Here come Panama the other way. Rolled ahead into Fajardo, trying to slip in between there of Miazga and Ream. The cross sent away by Tim Ream. You can say all you want about the prestige of a game against a European opponent like Wales. These are the teams you got to be able to beat if you're going to qualify for the World Cup. So in some ways a more relevant reference point for the U.S. tonight. As Cooper steps in with that tackle on Reyna. Quickly they come the other way. Here's Guerrero. Getting it back on Musa. Some support from Reyna. Guerrero's cross in, and that did take a deflection. It'll be a Panama corner. For what it's worth, in the 22 prior meetings, only one victory for Panama against the U.S. That came in a Gold Cup match in the 2011 group stage, courtesy of an own goal and a penalty. And there was Panama's shootout victory over the U.S. in the third place game of the 2015 Gold Cup. The U.S. has won the last 3. Yorman Aguilar. He'll take the corner. Aguilar's deep in swinger. Sent back sideways by Cannon. Aguilar resetting. Karaskia sends it in. Adams couldn't do anything with it, but Stefan was alert. Now Tyler Adams leading him out. Handing it off to Yunus Musa. Came down one of 13 players to play for the U.S. before his 18th birthday. Gio Reyna, one of the other ones. As he's muscled off the ball. What makes Musa unique is he's the only player in men's national team history to start twice before turning 18, which he will later this month. And still not tied to the United States, eligible for a couple other national teams, including England, for whom he's played at the youth level. Ream couldn't find the angle there. Good work by the U.S. in the middle. Weston McKennie and Tyler Adams to win it back off Tejada. Serginho Dest get cleanly away. Hands off for Reyna. Here's Yunus Musa. Cannon advancing up the right. A little clip there to find Reggie Cannon.
We can see how deep Panama are retreating now when they get settled into this low block, and the United States find a way. Can they get in behind them?
Something Greg Berhalter has talked about a lot in his almost 2 years as the U.S. coach, breaking down teams like this in CONCACAF. Cannon just couldn't get back to that ball.
Well, so much of that tonight, John, is going to be on the United States. How quickly can they move the ball?
Right again, the cross in for Joaquini, sent away by Linton. Again, the pressure from Musa, but Panama able to find the outlet. Guerrero now on the left, paddling out there with Yanez, who does well to keep it in play and get it back to Weston McKennie. Dest trying to escape from Michael Murillo. Again, a little bit of the flash of skill. Dest clipping that in. That'll be a comfortable catch for Orlando Mosquera, making his first career start in net for Panama. Today's telecast is sponsored by Volkswagen, the presenting partner of U.S. Soccer. Tejada getting it wide to Aguilar. Mondo Cooper, who was a part of Toronto's teams in 2016 as a starter that got all the way to MLS Cup, was more of a sub the following year, 2017, as they won that treble of Supporters Shield, MLS Cup, and Canadian Championship. He's playing now in Israel for Hapoel Tel Aviv. He's one of 6 players on Panama's squad that have played in MLS. None of them do currently. 3 of them on the field right now, including Escobar and Murillo at the back, and then Cooper in the middle. You see Gabriel Torres, Colorado Rapids' first ever designated player a lifetime ago in 2013. And there's Cooper again. Handing off for Murillo. Tejada's come forward. The cross, a little overhit there for Fajardo, who has the goal tonight. Good stuff from Weston McKennie. Gets around a second Panamanian player. Couldn't find the outlet, though, as Yearwood slid through. Might be a second chance to get this to Yanez. Interesting stuff they're breaking down, but that's no foul, and McKennie has it back. Adams, Yunus Musa, a little bit of space for him. Musa trying to find an opening, and free kick for the U.S. now.
On that sequence, both McKennie and Musa showing a great ability to beat a player off the dribble, open up the field. McKennie with a great run, driving this team forward, and then Musa, a little dribble tackle there, but he gets it back, and that little cut there, drawing the foul from Murillo. Free kick now for the United States right on the top of the box.
And a little of an issue, though. It's a contact.
Like
there you go. How about the camera work from Austria? Yunus Musa is back to his feet. He'll turn 18 on November 29th, about 2 weeks from now.
Gio Reyna grabbing the ball, putting it down.
Well, you want to introduce yourself to the fans in American soccer. This is a pretty good way to do it. Again, you see how windy it is, and it is in awful tight. You got to get that thing up and down pretty quick. McKennie's in the area as well. Mosquera getting himself set. Reyna, yes! Finds the bottom corner. Giovanni Reyna, just after his 18th birthday, has scored his first goal for the United States in just his second appearance. Just a little wink at a teammate, the extent of the celebration as the game is tied.
Well, he just goes, goalkeeper's near side here, trying to catch him cheating, and he does. Starts leaning, going the other way, bends it up over, just to that near side. Look at that, you see Mosquera starts to cheat. He thinks that Gio Reyna's gonna go up and over, and he just hits it with placement. That's a goalkeeper error, but it doesn't matter to Gio Reyna. He'll take that first international goal on his second appearance for the United States. Gets them right back in it here, 1-1.
Giovanni Alejandro Reyna, son of two-time World Cup captain Claudio, son of Danielle, who played for the women's national team, won a couple national titles at North Carolina. Mentioned the other day, first time in U.S. soccer history you got 3 members of the same family playing for national teams. And that's going to be something he's going to remember, and we're going to remember for a long time to come. The kid's first goal direct from a free kick. Now can it spring a real comeback for the U.S.? Reyna has it again from Dest. Just got that one away for Weston McKennie. McKennie looking to roll it in for Yanez. He got Yearwood up in the air. Clearance only as far as Adams. At Miazga. Back from Yanez. Now they'll try the other side. Dest brings it down in front of Murillo. Serginho Dest cutting inside, ran away from him there. And allowed Cooper to come in and tackle it off him. Cooper able to ride the challenge of McKennie, get the pass away. Here comes Carrasquilla. Eduardo Guerrero. Back down for Carrasquilla. And into the middle for Cooper. Knocked away by Adams. Yunus Musa first to the loose ball. Now he's going to look to accelerate. He's it there for Reyna. Beaten to it by Cooper.
You're seeing the United States find success in that attacking third when it's a long switch, finding the weak side. So Miazga hits a good ball that time, finding Serginho Dest, who's hugging the touchline, finding width, but it's those little combinations. And what Greg Berhalter talked to us about yesterday, John, was when they're in that final third, can they get runners to the end line? Can they get players to at least commit and then open up some of the space underneath? That's something to continue looking for. The United States haven't really done yet to this point.
We certainly have seen a willingness from some of these U.S. players to take guys on. That was what Musa did to win the free kick that led to Reyna's goal. A little bit about what Yanez talked to us about yesterday, just sort of willing to come on, do all you can, make something happen. As he came on as a sub with about 20 minutes to go, and Yanez does well to clean that ball up in the middle. To a man now who has no problem taking players on 1v1. Serginho Dest. Reyna on the turn. Slip that in there. Just couldn't quite do so. No foul there as McKennie wins it back. Reyna, Yanez on the deck. Rebound is a goal. Joaquini there, alert on the scene as Mosquera spilled it. Goals about 4 minutes apart for the United States to take the lead.
Well, you see a couple things in the build-up to this one. The United States recovering the ball once again after it turned over in the middle of the field. That's what creates this opportunity. Yanez then takes the shot, and Joaquini, who made the initial run to try and get him behind. I don't see a foul there. The United States pick it up, then Reyna slip ball, trying to get on the end of it. Joaquini, number 9, getting an opportunity, gets his first goal in a U.S. shirt on just his second appearance. United States 2-1.
And a great response to going down. Nicholas Joaquini, 20-year-old, born in Kansas City to an Italian father, a Jamaican mother, has lived in Maryland, Italy, and France in his life. Plays for Caen in the French 2nd Division. Came into camp with a game-winning goal last Saturday. His 3rd goal in 8 games this season. And that was a big conversation point, certainly from Alexi Lawless. He asked the question to Greg Berhalter yesterday. Why does it seem like the U.S. has just sort of a dearth of options at the center forward role? And Berhalter said, I don't know. I really don't know. He said at one point, though, it is concerning. So the opportunity for Gioacchini to get himself on the field and get himself a goal. Might we see Sebastian Soto at one point tonight? Think about some of the options you have there, including, it was notable, Greg Berhalter saying he cannot wait to work with Daryl Dike, rookie for Orlando City. And Berhalter saying yesterday they are hoping to maybe have a camp, maybe a game in December, sort of a replicate of the January camp for MLS-based players. Also mentioned Jesus Ferreira at Dallas. Certainly we've seen Ayo Akinola for youth national teams. Great season for Toronto. Jeremy Abobasi similarly.
But a big part of that conversation, John, is what it ultimately comes down to at that position is your ability to put the ball in the back of the net consistently. And that was one of the things Greg Berhalter said about Ferreira. He doesn't do it enough at the club level. Well, you have 2 guys in Ayo Akinola and Daryl Dike doing it in Major League Soccer. 9 for Akinola this season, 8 for Dike. And do they get an opportunity if there's a December game, which is largely domestic players? And then, you know, the number 9 one is a funny one. I remember going back to the World Cup in 2010 and a team that I was a part of, and Herculez Gomez, the 6 months leading up to the World Cup, just going on an absolute tear, working his way into the mix. Edson Buttle was another one.
Musa there, good work to win the ball back off of Arasquilla. Back now for Serginho Dest. Dest for Reyna. Reyna tried it himself. It was a looping ball there off a deflection. Ends up over the bar onto the roof of the net out for a U.S. corner.
Well, Reyna really starting to find some pockets of space underneath the back 4 for Panama. And with Serginho Dest getting up on that left side, he's coming in. Those 2 are combining really well over the past 8-9 minutes or so, and Reyna's starting to find a rhythm. He's got runners beyond him. That's what's opening the space up for him. Watch the movement from Gioacchini. It's been impressive. He's willing to run beyond the back 4, and now Reyna, with his influence on the ball, looking to create for the U.S.
Now Reyna with the first corner of the night for the U.S. His outswinging ball, Gioacchini was rising up for it. Dest holds it up on the other side. Dest back for Adams. Adams, the reverse pass. McKennie, can he get there? Yes, clipping it up. Header back in front. Gioacchini scores! Threw his body at it there as Miazga kept it in play. 3 goals in quick succession for the U.S. to take a 2-goal lead now over Panama.
Wow, this is a terrific goal. Terrific build-up. First of all, the pass from Tyler Adams here. Look at that. And Weston McKennie busting a gut to get on the end of that one and keep it alive. The awareness then from Miazga. And what do you want from a number 9? You want a guy that's hungry in the box, that finds those spots, reacts first here, just throws his body on the line, gets on the end of that one, and nods it home. Did that one stay in? That was close there. You couldn't quite see, of course, no VAR in this one. Did McKennie get to the end line? Certainly is going to count. He does. Just keeps it in play, keeps it alive. Matt Miazga had stayed up from the corner kick. And Gioacchini with his 2nd of the night.
And as you mentioned, no video assisted refereeing. Doing this old school with the eyeballs tonight. And so that one stands up. It's 3 goals in about 8 minutes for the U.S. since going down. And just to complete the thread of the center forward chat, it's not to say anyone's riding off, least of all Greg Berhalter. Jossie Zardes, who Berhalter worked with for a couple years at Columbus, or Josie Altidore, who incidentally had the last direct free kick goal for the U.S. back in the 2017 Gold Cup final, before Reyna put his in a few minutes ago. You see Berhalter prowling in the technical area as Panama able to win that ball away. Ream's clearance bouncing off McKennie there. And then Dest has it tackled out. Concern written on the face of Thomas Christensen. They took the lead in the 8th minute through a goal from Jose Fajardo, really against the run of play. And 10 minutes later, The comeback was on. Cooper intercepts the throw, wins a free kick. And each goal for the U.S. about 4 minutes apart. Cooper stands over the free kick. Aguilar is there as well. Aguilar to swing that in. Tejada was swinging at it, couldn't do anything with it. Now the breakout. Dest for Reyna. Reyna trying to accelerate. He's got Yanez peeling away into the middle, and maybe it took a touch there off Cooper, or was just behind him. Adams again, the pressure. It's going to be a U.S. throw.
After a slow start, John, for this U.S. team, they went behind. It was almost, gave them a wake-up call, and you could see, look, the United States are a much better team than Panama. They have more talent by position across the field, but it didn't feel like they were matching the energy early on. What they've done there is physically raise the energy. The passing has been sharper. There's been more of an intent to it. They've taken their chances, and right now are showing their superiority. I'm sure U.S. fans out there will be wanting to see this now go 4, 5, 6. Can the U.S. continue this pressure? Can they continue to put away chances and keep hitting the back of the net?
Miazga has the assist on the goal. Kenny did the hard work to keep it in play. Joe Aquini with 2 goals on the night, getting his first start for the U.S. Very different looking at the 30-minute mark than it did about 15 minutes ago. I mentioned these are 2 teams that I will end up once again facing off in World Cup qualifying. The U.S. directly through to the octagon, I guess you could call it, the 18 final round, which will begin at some point next year, perhaps September, as McKennie sails that out. Panama have a much longer road to go through. They're going to hopefully in March begin a group stage with a handful of teams: Dominican Republic, Barbados, Dominica, Anguilla, and then a 2-leg playoff against maybe Curacao, maybe a Guatemala, just to get through to that 8-team final round. As you mentioned, Panama trying to get back to the World Cup. We're there for the very first time in Russia in 2018. Dest 1v3 and draws the contact. I suppose if I asked you, Stu, to rate this in sort of quarter-hour increments, the one would be very different from the other with what we've seen so far.
Yeah, absolutely. It's almost like 2 different mini-halves from the United States. And just settling into this game and the way and having a confidence to move the ball around. The type of confidence we saw from them over the first 30 minutes against Wales. And the way when you have some of that success, it breeds that confidence for this team. You can see that. They really feed off of different moments, whether it's a tackle from McKennie or Gio Reyna playing a threaded pass or just gaining that momentum. They really build.
Cannon back from Yanez. Cannon's clip cross. Clearance to the top of the box there. Murillo, a second header. Adams holds it in. McKennie, great little flick to Gio Reyna. Now for Serginho Dest. Dest thinking about it. Hands back to Reyna instead. Reyna into the middle. McKennie just held off it. Adams holds it in. He'll go back out wide to Yanez. Header back into the mix, or at least that's what he was trying, but it loops in behind for a goal kick.
Panama almost seemed stunned when the United States moved the ball so quickly. And with the confidence of Dest and Reyna and McKennie on the ball, Musa as well, you see the Panamanian defenders now almost scared to get tight. And that's why the U.S. players at times, Gio Reyna there, Serginho Dest, had plenty of time on the ball just to pick their head up, pick a pass with freedom, no real pressure. That's come because of the sustained pressure now for the United States over the past 10-15 minutes.
Hopefully they're able to keep it under some pressure. Cannon coming forward to cause trouble. Guerrero comes out of there with the ball. Yearwood, who had the assist on the Panama goal, it's going to be out for a U.S. throw. Now, Weston McKennie there, incidentally, the last hat trick for a U.S. men's player was Weston McKennie in the opening 13 minutes against Cuba. If you remember, October of last year in Washington, D.C., what ended up a 7-0 rout. Nicholas Gioacchini's got 2 goals in this first half, and McKennie able to turn in the middle, try to play the outlet ball, knocked away by Escobar. Cooper being harassed by McKennie right now. Miazga sort of mishit that. Ream had to be alerted. It's going to be a foul. Free kick for Panama.
Just a little pull there from Miazga on Fajardo after the ball had gotten away from him.
Line from Michael Murillo from the New York Red Bull, who now is Anderlecht teammates with Matt Miazga, and for that matter Kamar Lawrence, 3 former Red Bulls playing in Belgium together. Yunus Musa, good ball that was. Reyna running in front of him. Gio Reyna now, can he catch up to it? It's going to be knocked in behind. Linton came all the way across there to knock that out for a U.S. corner.
It started with Musa back in the defensive third for the United States, and something that both Musa and Adams have done well in this game is setting players up from Panama, thinking that they have a passing lane and then jumping that lane, winning the ball, and then springing the United States into the attack.
They're short for Yanez. Ream joining up, just has a look now, clips that in. And this notion of Adams, Musa, and McKennie as the U.S. midfield, perhaps long-term, doesn't seem to be just hype and hyperbole and social media fodder. Greg Berhalter really was impressed by how they worked, and it was very deliberate, it sounded like, Stu, to get those guys back together tonight.
Yeah, and it's one of these debates that you have continually as an international manager, is that you have the club coaches who want their players fit and healthy and ready to go at the weekend, and Greg Berhalter said he's already getting calls. This was before the game when we talked to him yesterday, saying from Juventus and Leipzig and Valencia, saying, hey, let's manage the minutes for our guys out there. And Greg Berhalter saying, hey, hang on a minute, we haven't had these guys in 10 months. And he said, I need to give Tyler Adams another game. I need him getting more reps there. I want him playing under me, and just building that relationship, building that engine room. If that is going to be the midfield, then you can get Musa to commit.
Here's Cannon now. McKennie started this sequence by winning the ball. McKennie's cross into a good area. Nobody there. Yearwood plays it straight up in the air, and it's hooked away by Guerrero. Ream off his knee, that'll do.
It's just the reality, John, of the current climate and not having as many opportunities as you'd like as an international manager to get these guys on the field, developing a rhythm, getting used to each other's tendencies, and ultimately winning games together. That's what's important.
This is quite a little sequence here to set up Yunus Musa. Can he do something on the end of it? The cross into the middle. Mosquera was down to get it. Boy, Reyna, Dest, and Musa there. Jiffable, I think, as the kids say, as they work the ball up the field.
Is it jiffable or giffable? We'll take it. Nice little one in behind. Musa just getting Escobar off balance there, getting around him, getting to the end line, and trying to find Gioacchini for his hat trick. But great work. You can see the variance in his skill set, both physically and then with his ability on the dribble, just his control and his balance, and then picking out a pass. And I think one of the things that I was impressed with, John, and also Greg Berhalter said about Musa, was just to be able to drive the ball forward. He's almost about to do it there, and to break lines with the ball at his feet and taking defenders on, opening the game up and seeing it both back to goal and forward facing. Really impressive.
Yanez, the return. Cannon not going to get there. Berhalter also praising the poise of a kid. We got to remember, he's still 17 years of age. He's a high schooler on the field with some grown men out there, both teammates and opponents tonight. Recently became the second youngest goal scorer in the history of Valencia in Spain. And the prior younger goal scorer was a guy that scored back in 1941. Eligible to play for Ghana through his mom for England growing up there. Also lived in Italy. Fajardo trying to bring that ball down, couldn't do so. As Weston McKennie said, it's not just an issue of him, picking the U.S. We got to pick him too, and he's got to show that he's good enough, but he's also committed enough to play for the U.S. That's part of what this whole process and experience is. Yanez in the end of that ball. Trying to be at least. Joaquini was tripped up. Another free kick for the U.S.
Great work by Joaquini. I've been impressed with him through 38 minutes. And playing his club soccer in second division France, you can see right now, though, he's raising his game a level, and he wants this. He's getting on the end of crosses. He's in the box, and then this time he starts the play. He drops deep into the midfield, finds Yanez wide on that right-hand side, and then draws the free kick. I bet you one thing. I bet Mosquera's not going to guess this time and try and jump the gun when Reyna is going to take this free kick.
But does Reyna know that and anticipate that he's not going to guess? They call it the prisoner's dilemma. Let's see what Reyna does with it. Yanez over it. McKennie being sort of gently pushed away there by Gio Reyna. Let's see what the kid can do again. Reyna, well, not quite.
It's a tougher one from that angle, especially for a right-footed player. And Reyna, you really have to whip it around. He was trying to come all the way back to that far post.
One of the things Greg Berhalter talked about yesterday with Gio Reyna was sort of the assignment they gave him to really just play in a different way than a lot of the ways he would be used to playing with Borussia Dortmund. And you hear that conversation a lot, whether it's role or specific position. Guys sometimes being asked to do or maybe not wanting to do different things for the national team than for their club. How much of a difference does that make? If you're asking Reyna to be a different player in some ways for the U.S. than for Dortmund, how much of a challenge is it to get a guy to be able to do that successfully?
For a guy like Gio Reyna, not that difficult, because he's such a clever player. He's really smart in the way that he reads the game.
Moves to the long run, handing it off to Reyna. Reyna to Dest. Dest deflected ball outside netting for a corner.
Looks like we might pick up a yellow card here. Somebody for dissent. Is it Mosquera that picked up that yellow card?
You're seeing the same pictures I am, and neither of us have an entirely sure clue.
It's a great little interchange. I really enjoying the relationship between Dest and Reyna so far in this game.
Fidel Escobar, the center back, was shown the yellow card, we're told. The ensuing corner swept away. Dest couldn't quite hold it in. Stu, I'm sure Gio Reyna's parents would love to hear you keep talking nice things about their son.
Well, I would say one of the big differences from the last game, and you were asking the nuanced differences between playing club and international. Gio Reyna today has been playing predominantly on this left-hand side, and I would say that's where he has more freedom to come into the same spaces that he plays for Borussia Dortmund. You have Dest overlapping on the left. It's less getting to the end line and stretching. It's more coming underneath and playing passes because you have a striker that's running beyond right now, and he just looks like he's playing street ball, which is where he's at his freest, and getting on the ball, half spaces, on the half turn, threading in behind, dictating the tempo. The issue that Greg Berhalter, I guess it's not an issue, it's a good one to have, is that Christian Pulisic is predominantly played there. Well, Pulisic can play on the right as well.
Yearwood on the end of that. Good work by Tejada. Now Yearwood's cross in. That was the one that beat the U.S. early. Stefan there to get it that time. Quickly to Yunus Musa. Musa glides past one. Tripped up by the second. Murillo's going to get a yellow. Panama, for what it's worth, had their goalkeeper, in fact, Luis Mejia, sent off against Japan the other day. That's why Mosquera, at least in part, not because Mejia's starting, but Mosquera came into play, is starting this one tonight.
Yeah, what we saw in that game against Japan was after Panama went behind from the penalty spot, the game just completely opened up, and they were pouring numbers forward. It was counterattack after counterattack. Mejia goes off for a second yellow. I can see this doing the same in the second half. If Panama give it a go, if they push numbers further up the field, there's more goals in this one for the United States.
Miazga overhitting that one. McKennie had to be alert to it. As I mentioned the other day, Christian Pulisic back with Chelsea, was in camp for a couple days. He's nursing a hamstring injury. Josh Sargent was the other called in, but local government regulations where his club Werder Bremen play in Germany meant that he was not released for this camp. Panama were going to have Aníbal Godoy, Nashville SC midfielder, with them, and then he got hurt in Nashville's finale. So it might have been 7 MLS players for Panama in this camp. Reams sliding that ahead to McKennie. Joachini making the run. Instead, it's going to go wide. Long run for Reggie Cannon to track it down. Cannon first time cross in. McKennie rather in the area. Aguilar trying to play it out. Miazga wins it right back. Musa then out muscled in that tackle. Fajardo on the ball, scored in the 8th minute. The U.S. roared back with 3 goals in the span of 8 minutes later in the half to take control of this one. And coming up at the half, we'll get the thoughts of Rob Stone and Alexi Lawless, what they've seen so far. Zach Steffen really has not had, outside of the goal, a whole lot to do again this evening. That's going to be a foul. Joachini slow to get to his feet.
Linton says you've had 2 goals here. Take a knee in the back. Have that.
Linton, who plays in Malta, part of a group of Panamanian players that not dissimilar from the U.S. really. Finding their way into European clubs as they try to re-engineer things a little bit, in the guys like Roman Torres and Blas Perez, the legends of Panamanian soccer. A generational turnover for them at the moment. Wide it goes to Serginho Dest. McKennie trying to catch up on the overlap. Not quite the right angle on that ball. It's going to be out for a U.S. throw. You did see there 1 minute of stoppage time on the way here at the end of the half. The small stadium in the small town of Wiener Neustadt. And you see there what looks to be a water park behind the stadium on one end. There's an airport across the street, a little bit like Earthquake Stadium in San Jose. Playing host to this international match, put together on rather short notice for the U.S. to try to make sure they had 2 games in this window. Kenny there in a running battle with Guerrero, and it's going to be a foul in the end. That's going to be the end of the first half. Well, it was a little nervy there for a moment. 8th minute goal for Panama to take the lead. And the U.S. roared back with 3 goals in 8 minutes. Gio Reyna free kick. Nicholas Joachini adding the second 2. Rob and Alexi on the other side of the break. 45 minutes down. 45 to go in Austria, where it's the United States 3 and Panama 1.
FS1's coverage is sponsored by Volkswagen, the presenting partner of U.S. Soccer. What a difference 4 days make. 0-0 at the half in Wales on Thursday. 4 goals here in the first half. Rob Stone and Alexi Lawless with you. The experts, the U.S. fan base, the last couple of days, they've been very clear on 2 points. Number 1, the future, particularly in the midfield, blindingly bright. And number 2, continued genuine concern about how and who will score. Isn't it nice to have a response?
That was fun to run. Yeah. Well, that's fun to watch, Rob Stone. Striker, check. Set piece, check. Reaction mentality, even going down a goal, check. Congratulations to this team, at least for 45 minutes of doing what we expect you to do against inferior competition.
And swagger.
And swagger.
I really like the swagger on the U.S.'s 3rd goal. But first, it was Panama starting off in the 8th minute, dropping this one in between the 2 central defenders.
Yeah, confusion out wide as to who should be on that player, putting it into the box, and then confusion between the 2 center backs as to who should be marking Fajardo.
The future. Gio Reyna, set piece, 1-1, his first international goal.
Take it, take it. Don't worry about the goalkeeping. It goes in the back of the net. That's all they're going to remember. Gio Reyna scores in what? Of the games?
He scores in 100% of it. Well, yeah, you're right. You know who scores in 100% of his starts? Nicholas Gioacchini.
Look at this guy. Look at this guy. All right, that's what you want. All right, clean up. It's some slops here, but that's what goal scorers have. They have the ability to be in the right place at the right time.
Gioacchini there again, the 26th minute. I love how this goal started. Dest, Swagger pulls it back, and Greg Berhalter told us he wants those runs behind the back line. There you go.
The goal's great, but the build-up and the way that this ultimately happened is wonderful with the interchanging and then the wonderful ball across. Center back getting involved, and then your man up top selling himself. I mean, you put the moneymaker in a place where he could have gotten crushed.
Yeah, 3 goals in an 8-minute window. The U.S. overturns a 1-0 deficit, makes it 3-1. Gioacchini, just before Panama scored, he made that nice little run in the box, fired off a one-time ball just wide of target. Since then, what has he done to get himself in position to have these two at the break?
Well, like you mentioned, first off, just because it doesn't go in the first time doesn't mean it's not going to happen. So you got to be able to forget and adjust very, very quickly. So first off, he's up top. So he's playing in the actual position where you need him to be. And then it's just the ability to smell opportunity. That's what great goal scorers do. And he's right there on the doorstep to finish that one. Just lurking, hanging around. And then this one we talked about. You got to be courageous. You got to find places to be dangerous and then sell yourself in the box. That's what you want.
We love that last goal. Reminded us of our friend, our colleague, Taylor Twellman, putting that big old head out in the middle of a blender and not caring about it, getting a goal. Gioacchini solving some problems in the first 45. Very curious to see how the U.S. responds in the second 45. Again, it was 0-0 at the half on Thursday. 3 goals in the first 45 in Austria against Panama. Second half coming up in moments. MLS playoffs on FS1 begin this Friday. New England, Montreal, 6:30 Eastern. And then Sunday, the top seed in the West, Sporting KC, hosts San Jose. Rob Stone, Alexi Lawless back here with you, closing in on second half kickoff. The U.S.-Wales game, you gave the U.S. a 6 out of 10 when that one was done. What do they get right now?
7. They're standing at a 7, but another half to play.
A Gio Reyna 7, huh? I'm glad you weren't grading my papers. Stu, what do you give them?
I'd be in the same range as Alexi. It's 7. It's an inferior opponent in Panama, but yet there's still room for growth within this team.
Well, certainly, Rob, when talking to Greg Berhalter last week, he told us he wanted fans to be able to see from these games hope, see something they can believe in, see a team that maybe can develop into something good. And as the second half gets underway, that little burst there in the first half was certainly a big part of that. So the question, Stu, is what do you want to see from the U.S. closing out this second half?
Well, I'd like to see much of the same, but I'd also like to see some changes in this team. I'd like to see some opportunities given to guys like Chris Richard, Richie Ledesma. This is a second half where the United States are playing a familiar opponent in Panama, a team in which they dominated in the first half of the first 10 minutes, and it feels like an opportunity for Greg Berhalter, who doesn't get to see a lot of these players often in camp and in a game situation, to see some subs in this second half, and that's what I expect.
2 changes for Panama at the break. Juan Tejada of the Tampa Bay Rowdies, who made his debut. He was off after 45 minutes, as was Eduardo Guerrero. Coming on was Cesar Yanis, 24-year-old, making just his 6th career appearance. And Gabriel Torres, former Colorado Rapids designated player who was on the field, as it's Reggie Cannon who is down. Aguilar there committing the foul. And we'll see. It was interesting the other night, Stu, that Greg Berhalter, you could tell, really wanted to sort of leave it late and get those guys on the field as much time together as they could. Didn't make his first sub until about the 70-minute mark. That one's going to go long over the top, and that's going to be an offside flag on Gio Reyna to end that sequence. Picking that up for Yearwood, who has the assist on the goal tonight for Panama. Well, it came off Adams. It's going to fall for Aguilar, though. His cross lifted in. Stefan there to get it. Just in front of Giannis on the field. Yearwood battling with Giannis for that ball in the air. Kia brings it down. Rolled into the space. Flag going to stay down. It's Fajardo there to get it. He's got the goal for Panama. His cross dealt with by Miazga. So Armando Cooper making the run there. And you see Miazga there. Want to get some energy and intensity back for the U.S. off the second half kickoff. Playing off the right, Murillo working on Dest, trying to get that cross in. It's going to end up on the roof of the net, but out for a corner. It's Panama with the energy and the momentum early in the second half. Roman Aguilar will come across to take it. Zach Steffen has not made a save tonight. Aguilar trying to direct traffic here. Aguilar's in swinging ball met by McKenny. Like a chance for Aguilar to bring that one down. Again, he'll swing it into the back post, knocked down. Miazga was there. Long run for Reyna, beaten to it by Yearwood, although Reyna intercepts it. Can he keep the ball to play? Yes, he can. Here's Gio Reyna running forward. Joe Aquini and Yanez running with him. The cross, that was meant for Yanez and knocked down there and cleared. Mosquera trying to play safe in case that was ruled a back pass. Now Panama the other way. Here is Gabriel Torres. Tied for 5th most goals in Panama's history. Weston McKennie is going to get a yellow card. It looked like that's what Harold Lechner was reaching for, that pocket.
Panama won a red here. And McKennie is definitely late and definitely catches Torres at the end of this play. Oh my goodness. I actually think Weston McKennie is pretty lucky here. He catches him right on the top of the foot. But it's studs exposed.
If this is a friendly match, or I should say if this is not a friendly match.
I mean, that's right on the edge of a yellow as far as the way in which he tackled Torres, and then also the force of that in endangering the safety of an opponent. If it's higher on the leg, it's a red.
Cooper to send in the ensuing free kick. Offside flag is up. He was doing well there to deal with that little fake there off the front to try to unbalance him. And a clash of heads at the back. Escobar is down. Looks like Joe Aquini might be seeing a yellow here. 2 yellows in quick succession for the U.S.
Yeah, that is the forearm. I think of Joe Aquini there, that as he goes up to win that one, U.S. picking up those 2 yellows. And you have to keep in mind as well, this is a friendly game in essence, and some of these tackles in different circumstances or competitive matches, especially in qualifiers or CONCACAF matches, would be viewed differently, I think, by referees.
Just said it might be a friendly, which again, it's a very English word. Exhibition would be the other, against an opponent that you've got a lot of familiarity with. Certainly as many new U.S. players as you have. I mean, this is a Panama team with a lot of faces we've seen in Gold Cups, a team you know you're going to be facing off against, or at least you think you might be in World Cup qualifying. Panama's got to get through the earlier rounds. Now another free kick here for Panama. You mentioned at the beginning of the first half, it was like the U.S. needed a bit of a wake-up call. And that's what the goal was in the 8th minute. Now in the 8th minute of the second half, as This free kick is sent in. It's going to be dealt with on the other side now as Cannon gets rid of it. Dest not able to get on the end of it. Kia playing the long switch. Murillo brings it down. Cooper. Aguilar. Giannis now running forward. Just able to poke it away but couldn't keep it. Back inside for Armando Cooper. Cooper will clip this up. Man went down to the box for Panama. Header sent away by Miazga. Giannis once more. Again, bodies flying in the box for Panama. Murillo, Dest on his back. And Murillo's able to make that little swim move around him. Cuts back to cross. McKennie there just in time in front of Giannis. Now Yanez back for Weston McKennie. Can the U.S. just play a release valve right now? Intercepted pass. Escobar there, last man back. Into the middle for Gabriel Torres. Torres got Adams on the seat of his pants. His shot, though, up over the bar.
It was a great opportunity in transition there for the U.S. with Yanez and Weston McKennie playing a little two-man ball there. 1-2s, finding the gap, and then Giannis making the wrong decision at the end of that play. This resulted in this movement. Torres sending Adams to the deck, and then skies one up over the crossbar.
Gabriel Torres mentioned he was the first designated player in Colorado Rapids history. He was coming off of 2013, where he was the co-leading scorer at the Gold Cup, had led the Venezuelan League in goals too. He was on fire. 2.5 years with the Rapids, 56 games, 10 goals. And at one point, the Rapids were even talking about sort of trying to reteach him how to run, that his body mechanics were leading to injury issues that were keeping him off the field. They finally got rid of him after the 2015 season. He returned to Venezuela, and he was the top scorer there again. As Yunus Musa goes down. And two more substitutions here for Panama. Victor Griffith, 19-year-old who plays in Costa Rica, is going to replace Carrasquilla. Look like Alejandro Yearwood, the left back, is going to come off as well. He had the assist tonight for Panama, replaced by Andres Andrade. Plays just a few hours up the road in Austria for LASK. Dest driving inside. I think it might have been meant for Joe Aquini, and Reyna picked it up, and then he goes down, no foul. McKennie running with Giannis there. How does the U.S. get back to the way these things were looking in the later stages of the first half?
Well, they have to dominate with the ball again, and they haven't really had much possession in this second half. It has been Panama applying the pressure in the U.S. half, and the U.S. have had moments of transition, but haven't controlled the game with the ball and chasing it around. It is about getting that. It is about putting pressure again on Panama. We're playing the ball around, and the U.S. in a little bit of a low block at moments. You've seen a couple of those yellow cards as well, John. The play has been broken up.
Torres trying to get the return there from Fajardo, and off a redirection has to be cleared away by Stefan. Kenny up for Reyna. Andrade on the field.
Sloppy too, yeah, a little sloppy moments. This is the second or third time now. Gio Reyna's been caught in possession. McKennie's been caught in possession. Giannis as well.
Giannis there rolled ahead. Fajardo looking to cut it back. Fajardo's shot, that was hooking, but not enough. And Stefan at full stretch. Happy to see it go wide of the post.
Oh, we had a great look at that one, didn't we, from behind here? As that one was bending away, trying to just find that far post, as Zach Stefan was fully outstretched and would have had it covered had it been on goal. It looked like, at least. It was hit really well by Fajardo, who has one goal on the night already.
Just to put an interesting number on it, the U.S. in the first half, 72% possession. Through the opening 12 minutes of the second half, they have 28%. So it really has flipped, at least who's had the ball. Early stages of the second half. Down the line it goes. McKennie, long run. And mentioned Andrade coming in as a sub. He's taken the center back role. Linton is pushed out to the left back for Panama.
You can see a couple of those U.S. faces there down, getting warmed up, going through the paces. I can see in the next 10 minutes or so, and Greg Berhalter didn't give us any specifics on subs he was looking to make in this second half, but I can see Ledesma getting a go, and Chris Richards as well.
Those two, Sebastian Soto and Chatur Odunze, the goalkeeper, are the four that could make their debuts tonight for the U.S. Reina trying to find the angle from Musa. Musa clipping it up in the air. McKennie attacking, and the whistle's gone there to end the threat. And you can see the Italian rubbing off on Weston McKennie there in his reaction.
I saw that too.
He's been at Juventus a few months now.
There you go. Settled into culture quickly, I would imagine. That happens a lot in training.
Adams able to intercept that as the ball got hung up in the air. Musa quickly, Gio Reyna. And Yanez there unmarked for a moment. They're shouting for a handball. It's not going to be given. Rio now under some pressure from Joe Aquini. Weston McKennie's talked a little bit as he takes that foul about life at Juventus. I mean, you're teammates with Cristiano Ronaldo. Your manager is Andrea Pirlo. You've got some absolute legends there in that locker room. It's a lot to live up to. It's a lot to come into. And to try to find your place and find your voice as a 22-year-old from Dallas.
Well, just seeing his evolution as a player and as a person, and when we got to talk to him ahead of the Wales match, and I remember going back to the Gold Cup, was it, John, in 2019, and we talked to Weston McKennie, and he said,
Cincinnati.
Yeah, I just, you know, Greg Berhalter talks to me about tactics. I just like to go around and run and get on the ball and get on the end of crosses. And I said, well, it's been quite a year for you now. You're at Juventus, playing one of the most tactical leagues in the world. You're playing under a coach in Andrea Pirlo and playing against the world-class players from all over the world. And he said, yes, now it's really important for me to just focus on my role within the team and being part of a system, and all these guys are moving me around the field, and I have a real focus on tactics.
Yanez trying to turn the corner on Andrade there. That's going to go all the way out, and Yanez for a second time tonight is down. He had that knock of knees in the first half. Now he's holding the lower left leg. He had rolled off behind the field. So Panama will continue. There's Yanez just at the corner of your screen limping back on. And it looked like a couple of bodies were making their way to the fourth official's position. As we hit the hour mark, Panama took the lead in the 8th minute. And then 3 goals in about an 8-minute stretch for the U.S. as Yanez goes down. Gio Reyna free kick, 2 from Nicholas Joachini, giving the U.S. control of this one, but it really has been all Panama in the second half.
Trying to see what happens at the end of this one. Yeah, you see the contact there with from Andrade on his left leg. And that's what Yanez got up. He was walking gingerly back towards the middle of the field and then goes down.
One substitution we know of that we've been told, Gio Reyna is going to come off, replaced by Tim Weah. And the other one, Johnny Cardoso. We saw him replace Tyler Adams in the second half against Wales. We'll see if that's the same sub here tonight. Yes, indeed, it sounds like it will be. And they've switched it now. Instead of Reyna coming off, it will be Yanez, which makes sense given the situation. For Tim Weah, who played against Wales for the first time for Greg Berhalter. Injuries and then going to the U20 World Cup instead of the Gold Cup last year.
I'd say it's a big 30 minutes for Tim Weah to impress Greg Berhalter, because he's fallen down the depth chart and has struggled with injuries over the past year and a half. Has not played much for Lille this season in Ligue 1, working his way back and making some appearances off the bench here and there. But really to work his way up and with some production and have an impact in 30 minutes that can show Greg Berhalter what he can really do.
They back in for Panama. Yanez clipping in this cross. No one there on the backside. back to get it for Reyna. It was interesting because last year the Gold Cup, Stu, the depth on those wings, we're talking about, you know, Pulisic, where exactly is he going to play? Jordan Morris, Paul Arriola, Tyler Boyd, remember, who came in as the dual national. Now we've seen Gio Reyna and Conrad De La Fuente and Julianez being added in that mix now as well.
And not to mention, John, when you talk about depth charts, you could play Gio Reyna wide, you could play him in the middle. You could play Musa wide, you could play him in the middle. You can play Jordan Morris as a striker, you could play him wide right, you could play him wide left. And a lot of interchangeable pieces and players for Greg Berhalter. And that's when you start to then talk about guys that can make a real impact and become the players in those positions that can produce ultimately. Champagne problems, as they call them.
Is that a Tata Martino line particularly? Is that just where we heard it from the one time? Here's Gio Reyna running forward. Options either side for him. McKennie, the return, sent away. Johnny holds it in. Wide it goes for Cannon. Tim Weah. Gonna turn the corner. There was a foul in the end, actually. Green for Dest. Dest inside for Reyna. McKennie taken backwards by that one. He'll clip it all the way across. It's going to find Reggie Cannon in the end. That looked like a handball. And indeed it is. Penalty for the United States. Oscar Linton, the outstretched arm. And you've got Gioacchini on the field sitting on a hat trick.
Well, I thought before we went to replay here, it looked like Gio Reyna was demanding the ball. We'll see if he ends up taking it. Nope.
We're waiting on our pictures from Austria. And it is going to be Nicholas Gioacchini, a chance to complete his hat trick with a penalty. Goals about 4 minutes apart in the first half. Against Orlando Mosquera. And it's saved.
You see at the top of your screen there, Gio Reyna had the hands up in the air. After that one was missed, it was a short run-up from Gioacchini, and you can't fault the striker. I love the confidence. A guy that's on 2 goals and wants to get the hat trick and wants to hit the back of the net again. Just wasn't a well-hit penalty from him.
Well, chance to show some mental toughness as that's going to go long, and Stefan gets there. See how he reacts to that moment.
There it is, short run up, tries the little stutter, and it's right down the middle. Mosquera, I guess, as well.
He does not have any penalty attempts on record for his club career. So 0 of 1 now with the U.S., and the lead stays at 3-1. Wide for Murillo. Little sequence there, clip to the byline. Giannis tracking it down, back for Gabriel Torres, who blasts it way over.
Good work by Giannis to keep that one in, and Torres just leaning back, hitting that one up over the crossbar. A little frustration from him.
It's going to be a foul there. And a free kick for Panama. A little bit after is there. Torres and Matt Miazga. And referee Harold Lander there with a little threat to Gabriel Torres. About a yellow. And the U.S. will indeed bring Gio Reyna off. And it will indeed be a debut for the 20-year-old from Phoenix, Arizona, Richie Ledesma. PSV Eindhoven made his full debut just days before getting called up, something he said he was not expecting. One-time member of RSL's Arizona Academy, Real Monarchs in USL 2 years ago. Last year moved to PSV. So he's on the field now. Veteran of Under 20 World Cup. Would have been an Olympic qualifying. That tournament was canceled in March down in Guadalajara. Cooper off the free kick, rolled wide. Aguilar, long run to get there. Did get there. McKinney wins the header. And there's Ledesma's first touch as a national team player at the senior level. And then Musa miscontrolled it. Now he's down. Quickly back into the U.S. down a man right now as Cooper continues on the ball. And a free kick for Panama.
It's really starting to feel like a CONCACAF match now, isn't it? Tackles off the ball, shirt pulling, little tacky fouls here and there.
Concern as Musa went down at the end of that. Free kick for Panama. U.S. defending a man light. It'll be Cooper who sends this in. Aguilar there to get it. Musa being waved back on the field. Here he comes. Aguilar from Cooper. That cross into a good area. And a whistle and a foul. There's Linton who threw his body in there at one point.
A little bit of pressure here from Panama. This one fires across his pinball, shooting around, and it eventually ends up at the back post with Murillo, but foul had gone before that.
U.S. back under pressure. They give the ball away at the top of their own box. Cooper clipped one by Fajardo. Musa coming to help. And now Dest trying to get him out. Joe Aquini, he's fouled as he released the pass. And now he's down. And the yellow card shown. 5th of the night in total by Harold Lechner, the referee.
Just haven't found a rhythm either team actually in the second half. Panama have had the better of the play, I would say, but a lot of little fouls, a lot of breaking up play, a lot of substitutions, no real rhythm, especially for the United States. So can they regain that? Can they get a resemblance of what we saw in the first half? Fullbacks high, possession, moving the ball around, pressuring when they lose the ball. I would say they've lost that as well. A little bit of an energy to win it back. It's been far too easy for Panama in moments to have possession and then play in transition the other way.
20 minutes to go. It was Griffith, the 19-year-old, on the field as a substitute that got the yellow. McKinney intercepted that ball for Weah. Cannon beaten to the second ball. Wide it goes now to Linton. Cannon trying to recover. Good work by Reggie Cannon. There for Andrade to try to keep that ball in play. Way it got there. Johnny sliding through again. It's given away by the U.S. This really has a very different feel than that last half an hour of the first half, where the U.S. was just knocking it around, having fun, scoring goals, in total control. Anything you can pinpoint that changed particularly?
A lot of what I was just talking about as far as the lack of aggression towards winning the ball back, putting pressure on Panama, sitting back a little bit deeper. They've been sloppy with the ball, the United States, and especially in the second half and some of their passing.
Way it started that. McKinney wide. Ledesma there, it popped up on him. Here they come again. Cesar Yanis, turned around by Dest. They go shoulder to shoulder, and Dest wins the ball. It was interesting talking to Richie Ledesma some yesterday. Guy just describing it as, meeting my future teammates, hopefully. His first time in with the national team, a lot of new faces, guys just trying to learn each other, and yet he said he was really pleasantly surprised by how quickly the chemistry was fitting in on the field, off the field, with the teammates, with the staff as well. How well and how quickly things clipped into place as Ream sends that cross away. Weah got there just in time in front of Cooper. And then McKinney is fouled. Got to lead him out. Now Griffith saw a yellow card. It looks like this one's going to be Gabriel Torres who gets that.
As Weston McKinney surrounded by three attackers from Panama, is able to just evade the first challenge and takes the kick from behind there from Torres. That's pretty blatant yellow card.
Torres mentioned this sort of stop-start life of his as a goal scorer, which included last year. Scored 4 goals all year for 2 different clubs. This year, playing for Independiente del Valle of Ecuador, has scored 17 times in 22 games at the age of 32 now. One of the real sort of fascinating enigmas in all of CONCACAF, Gabriel Torres. Ream long, Cannon trying to get on the end of it. Cannon does. Can he get back to it? Tackled there at the end by Linton. Out for a U.S. corner.
It's a good recovery in the end from Linton. It was a great crossfield pass from Tim Ream, picking out Reggie Cannon. Great first touch. Positive gets him behind, and Linton in the end is able just to make up that gap as Cannon was looking to either square it or take the shot. But finally, another corner in the attacking half of the United States.
It'll be Richie Ledesma to take it. One of a number of young Americans playing in the Netherlands who get together as often as they can. Ledesma's out swinging ball. It was there for McKinney. It's still loose in the box. Cannon trying to fight his way in. And it's going to be a foul in the end to end the sequence. And a pair of substitutions now for Panama. Aguilar is going to come off. And we are told Cooper is going to come off as well. And the 2 players on, the former Montreal Impact player for about 4 months last year on loan, Omar Brown, is on the field, as will be Abdiel Ayarza, who scored in both of Panama's 1-0 wins over Costa Rica, the games they played in October. That makes it 6 changes in total tonight for Panama. With about 15 minutes to go. You mentioned a little bit, Stu, the importance for Tim Weah right now. What about for Richie Ledesma? What are you hoping to see from him in this last quarter hour?
Well, here's a guy that has had a pretty crazy month. Makes his debut for PSV, gets an assist in that game, plays in the Europa League, gets called into the national team, and talked to him about that yesterday. He said it's all coming pretty quick, but I've been prepared for this moment.
McKinney clipping it in. Joaquini let it go and didn't find Weah.
So just looking to see what he can do as part of this system for the U.S. Can he make an impact? Can he leave an impression? Talk about all these new guys making debuts. Guys like Joaquini in his second appearance with 2 goals. You have to take that opportunity. You don't know when will be your last. And for a guy like Ledesma, he gets into this camp. It's a largely European-based camp, and we see a couple others here. It looks like, speaking of debuts,
Sebastian Soto preparing to come on, along with Sebastian Lletget. Yunus Musa's night is done, as is Nicholas Joaquini. So the penalty saved, which would have given him a hat trick. And a debut for another really intriguing player, Sebastian Soto, 20-year-old from Carlsbad, California. Family roots in Chile and Mexico. The Chileans tried to call him in earlier this fall for World Cup qualifiers. He said no thanks, not yet. He's played at a U17 and a U20 World Cup for the U.S. Plays in the Dutch 2nd division on loan from Norwich. He scored 5 goals in 7 games this year. That's Weah who's down.
and when you talk about opportunity, and as Weah just takes a hit on the back there, before the Wales game, we were talking to Greg Berhalter about the decision to play with Sebastian Lletget as the false 9, and he talked about the strikers that were in camp, Joaquini and Soto, and he said he felt in training, the limited training that they'd had, that they weren't up to the same level at that point as the guys that had been starting. Well, Gioacchini did get the start tonight and showed that he can play at this level and got the 2 goals.
Lamar Brown will send that free kick in, sent away by Weah. And Ledesma, a bit of a loose touch. Weah picks it up, though. Just kept that ball in play. And Soto, another player like Ledesma, product of the Real Salt Lake Academy, which probably does not get enough credit in the way that Dallas and the New York Red Bulls do for producing quality players. In Soto's case, in 2016, he led all of the U.S. Soccer Development Academy in goals at the U16 level. Here he is on the ball now. Sebastian Soto going to play provider for Weah, who couldn't control it.
Well, Weah doesn't seem too thrilled with that pass because Soto was off balance there and then ends up trying to jam it into Weah with a fastball, and it just comes cannoning off his shin and straight into the hands of Mosquera. That was a huge missed opportunity after some great work in the middle by Johnny.
So they moved Soto up to the U19s. He scored even more goals and led the entire league in goals there as well. And it's going to be played through here. Flag staying down, and a second Panama goal from Fajardo. U.S. are appealing for offside, and some of them just sort of froze there as that ball was wedged out. But it's Jose Fajardo, came into the night with no goals in his international career. He's got 2, and it's a 1-goal game.
Right down the gut for the United States, and lovely little slip ball around the corner from Brown, finding Fajardo. And you're right, Miazga and Ream with their hands up in the air, pleading for an offside call. You haven't had a good look at it on one of these replays to see if it was, but Fajardo takes this really well, lays this right through with the left foot. Glancing header in the first half, and rifles it home with the second, with the left foot for the second for Panama, and they're within a goal now.
Certainly a reward for how well Panama played and how much they brought the game to the U.S. in the second half. Chris Richards, the other field player, could debut tonight, will debut tonight in just a moment as Dest is upended. And here he comes, native of Birmingham, Alabama, moved to Dallas as a 17-year-old, part of a strategic partnership between FC Dallas and Bayern Munich. Saw him go 2 years ago to Germany. Has got a handful of games for the big club, the reigning European champions, this fall. And he makes his international debut at the senior level at the age of 20, replacing Matt Miazga. There's Tim Weah now. So Blake Berhalter getting all of his field players, at least, that he could have debuts onto the field to get their first taste of international action. Ream clipping this up. McKennie, too far for him. And 10 minutes to go now. 2 goals from Jose Fajardo, either side of 3 in quick succession for the U.S. in the first half. And from a results-based standpoint, the glaring moment right now is the penalty miss from Nicholas Gioacchini in the 65th minute. Would have given him his hat trick, would have made it 4-1. Johnny from McKennie, brought down by Leggett. And he gets crowded off it, and that's going to be a foul anyway. One back in the middle by Johnny, though. Dest, a little flick to get that away for Weah. Weah's second time. Dest. He'll dance inside on it. Dest into the middle. McKennie couldn't quite control it. Cannon intercepts the other way.
Reggie Cannon's been solid in that right back position, and one of the things we were focused on coming into this one is Chris Richards keeps that one just in, was Serginho Dest, who played as a right back in the match against Wales, going over to the left side, who I think you could make a case that Dest is the best right and left back on this team right now, but an opportunity for Reggie Cannon tonight, and I thought he showed really well from that position. Here he comes again.
Cannon joining up from Leggett. Hands off for Ledesma. Ledesma's cross into a good area and a goal! And the late run by Sebastian Soto on his debut gets a goal. The man who couldn't stop scoring for RSL's academy teams ended up in the Bundesliga at the age of 18, has made it 4-2.
Well, it's a great overlapping run from Cannon. That opens the space and the time for Ledesma to just deliver a dime here. Look at this, right on the head of Soto, puts it in the back of the net. Talk about that Dutch club connection. These guys get together continual basis over in Holland, and Ledesma from PSV just delivers that one on a platter for Soto, who's in the right place, up against the center backs, finding the gap, times his run well, arrives and nods it past Mosquera. Good finish.
Soto, Ledesma, Yanez we've seen on the field, Chris Gloucester, Alex Mendez, they get together, play FIFA, hang out in the park, whatever it is, maybe Thanksgiving dinner. And a great connection there between a pair of players on the field for the first time for the United States to push the lead back out to 2 goals with 7 minutes to go. Now Fajardo on the ball. He's sitting on a hat trick. Back for Gabriel Torres. Soto, good pressure there to force it back. Here's Yanez. Back across there, up in the air was Richards to win the header, an offside flag anyway. Well, Ledesma debuted for PSV with an assist, which he said wasn't the prettiest. That one was pretty nice, though.
That sure was. And you asked me about Richie Ledesma and said, what does he have to do? I mean, that's exactly what you have to do.
Foul there on Soto. A couple of 20-year-old kids just trying to make life that much more difficult for Greg Berhalter. It's clipped along here. Murillo, first time cross in. Stefan with a punch there under some pressure from Fajardo. Held in by Brown on the turn there. And the shot first save tonight was Ayarza there with the attempt. Saved by Stefan.
Yeah, Ayarza getting that second ball, finding a nice spot, playing off the striker. Zach Stefan, after punching it clear, then just gobbles that one. Here comes Weston McKennie again.
Into the middle for Leggett. Dest joining up. Brown there challenging him. And it's part of the equation as well for Berhalter in the U.S. in the short term. What you're hoping is an Olympics next year, and an Olympic qualifying tournament we were so excited for back in March, and a lot of these same players were going to be a part of that. And it's always a complicated thing for an Olympics. Under 23 players, although anyone eligible for a 2020 Olympics can still play in 21, but it's not on the FIFA calendar, so the clubs aren't obliged to release players. So it's a giant game of Tetris figuring those squads out. Ledesma, the in-swinging corner. It's a defensive header that sent it along by Escobar. At least it looked like it was, but it will be a goal kick.
And when we asked Greg Berhalter about that game of Tetris, John, he almost took this big sigh, didn't he, and said, oh, that's tough. I mean, that's going to be Ernie Stewart, general manager, Brian McBride, and Greg Berhalter, and just piecing all those different pieces together and which player goes where. And you know, unfortunately, as Greg Berhalter said, that clubs aren't required to release players for the Olympics. And so you're probably not going to see the strongest possible Olympic team for the United States in qualifying. And then you have the Gold Cup, and then you have qualifiers, and you have Nations League.
Here's Way now running forward. Way is crossed into the middle, sent away by Escobar. That will be a corner.
And a little tease for the postgame if you hang around. We're going to talk about that muddled amount of soccer coming up for the U.S.
Taken short for Canada. His cross turned in for a goal. That was Sebastian Leggett, the little near post flick header there. That's 5-2.
Well, it's quick thinking here. Tim Weah plays it short to Reggie Cannon, and he just serves one up for Sebastian Leggett, straight on the field, off the bench, at that near post, and just nods it home. Glancing header, great take here. That's an excellent header from Leggett. Just a little kiss off the post and in.
Third career goal for the LA Galaxy man. The first not scored in San Jose, California. These other two were at Earthquake Stadium about 2 years apart because of injury. Reggie Cannon picks up his second assist for the U.S. in his 13th appearance. And this is a little bit more like it after the second half that saw Panama cause a lot of trouble, and then Weah was late there on Mosquera. The U.S. once again scores goals about 4 minutes apart, same as they did twice back in that first half. Murillo will ride the challenge there. Brown brings it inside. The return now, Murillo's cross. That was in between everybody. He's looking to hold it up, got that pass in. McKennie just trying to ride Linton out. It's going to be a corner. Cesar to take. 90 seconds plus stoppage time to go in this one. And that outswinger sends along there. Good work by Torres to hold it in on Dest, and then knocked away by Soto and cleared. Acrobatics there from Giannis to hold that ball in. A little bit of a clip there to Linton to play it back inside. Cesar Giannis blocked by Johnny.
There's a lot of food for thought across the board for both Greg Berhalter and Jason Kreis, who will be heading up that effort to get the United States back to the Olympics for the first time since 2008. And if he, of course, is in camp with his team and has had a look at all these guys.
I mean, so long ago that you were there.
So long ago, John Strong.
We'll hear plenty more post-game coverage to come here at FS1 with Rob, Alexi, and Stu breaking down everything going forward. Again, this is the last FIFA window of 2020. We hope to see the FIFA window in March and sort of get everything back on track. Pandemic's in control of that, of course. Greg Berhalter, though, mentioning yesterday the hopes for maybe a camp, maybe a game in December, sort of like a January camp, feature a lot of domestic-based players. They've missed out on those opportunities to impress for the national team this year. Ledesma into the middle. Soto got there to find Weah. Weah dances to find space. Weah letting fly, and it was blocked and man down. Oscar Linton. 2 minutes of stoppage time here to be played. McKennie, Ledesma, McKennie. There's a little hip swivel by Weston McKennie. Into the middle for Weah, further along through traffic. Legit might have been blocked by Soto. A little flick there from Ledesma to keep it in. This is kind of fun to watch right now. Tim Weah. Ledesma got himself back on side. He'll swing in another cross. Mosquera let it go, and it bounces in. That did bounce in from that angle. How on earth did that happen? Sebastian Soto's second goal. Boy, an optical illusion from a couple thousand miles away, and no celebration in it, but a sixth for the U.S. tonight.
Well, run that sequence back, and you're just going to see what we were talking about earlier. Some street ball, some freestyling, 1-2 touch, trying to carve out an open opportunity, and then Ledesma, not for the first time tonight, serves up another dime to the back post, and Soto just go up and get it, and nods it in at the back post, just squeaks it in there for his second of the night. That's a great ball. Mosquera just caught in no man's land once again. He's had a rough night in the nets for Panama. He's thrown 6 in. But look at Soto off the bench making a real impact, making a statement there. 2 for Gioacchini, 2 for Soto. Who needs and number 9s?
Alexi Lawless asked where all the goal scorers were. Well, this is just about certainly a lot of what Greg Berhalter would have wanted. Certainly stretches the game where the U.S. were sort of struggling to deal with the pressure. Lost control of things for a while. Nothing is ever perfect. but it's pretty darn good. And it's an awful lot of fun for the U.S. tonight. 6 goals in total. A 6-2 win over Panama in Austria. 2 on the night from Gioacchini, 2 on the night from Soto, Leggett, and a Reina free kick the others. We'll hand you back across to Rob with Alexi. Hear more from Stu as well coming up as it finishes in Wiener Neustadt, Austria. United States 6, Panama 2.
Well, John, after failing to score against Wales, the U.S. put 6 on Panama. Gio Reyna, Sebastian Soto getting their first international goals. The post-game show with full match highlights and who impressed the most. Plus, Alexi's got a ranking for this edition of the U.S., and it's changing.